Yeah, welcome back to the Career Build Series 2023. This is episode number 11, and so we're going to start by making a new save. Something was up with the last save. It got into a really bad, essentially low frame rate. I was stuck at like 12 frames at most. So there was a bug that got introduced that I'm wondering if it might be causing this. So the devs introduced a bug in the last update that caused us to not have an ocean floor. And so I'm thinking that might be the problem because I had some underwater missions enabled. And so one of them was an underwater mission to repair a cable. The cable is on the ground. Well, and I also have one to repair an underwater base. Well, if there's no underwater scenery because of the bug, I'm wondering if that's what's causing the lag. So I'm going to go in here and I'm going to start a new save. We really didn't get much progress, so it's not going to really lose anything, but we'll go from there. So I've shut all the options off here. AI pass coming on, default AI aircraft. I'm going to tune all these down a little bit. So that's at 64. I'm going to go down to 32. Default AI, we have 128, so we'll make that half of that. So 64 on that one. So I'm just going to also dial these down. Was this causing it? I don't know, but we're going to do it anyway just to make sure that we're helping to reduce the amount of lag and whatnots. Default building missions are good. Cargo containers. Default creatures, so that's up to 1. I'm going to enable default creatures, but I'm going to bring it down to 0.1. So it'd be nice to see them every once in a while, but I want to make sure that's not causing it either. Default delivery zones, dock bollards, elevators are staying off. Forest fire missions coming on. Landmarks, I'll leave that on. I'm curious if any of the underwater landmarks cause me issues. Default mission zones, default mission locations. Let's click that. We have to get rid of natural disasters. One thing I'm curious about too is I want to do display timers, display reward. I'm curious if I'm mission base time, mission frequency. I might increase this so I don't have to sleep as much, but it doesn't really matter. We sleep in the bed pretty fast. I'll leave that. Default transpo missions, arid, and then natural disasters are staying on, or staying off rather. I'll just double check that so that it's good. Railway signals, resource storage, resource trading, solar mission zones, default tutorials off, underwater mission zones. This time I'm going to keep that off. I have a sneaking suspicion that was a culprit. These ADFs usually don't cause me any problems. I will be using those for navigation, so I'm going to turn all my ADFs on. They are really pretty low. They should be pretty low on the resources, and especially seeing everything was working fine. I've had these on in other saves. I have a sneaking suspicion that it has something to do with that underwater missions and the fact that we don't have any sort of seafloor because of a bug they introduced. So I'm going to go ahead and turn that on, and then I have to go back, and I'm going to put in creative menu. Now, it's not a huge deal, but it just will help out. All right, so I'm going to change the dress of my character here a little bit. I wasn't quite sure exactly what I was going to be doing, so we'll go ahead and I'll put on some stuff here. So I'm going to put on a captain hat. I think how I want that. I think like that. I think we're aiming for Quint is what we're looking for here. See, straps, life jacket. Lab coat, please. We can always change it in the wardrobe, but I'm going to go ahead and play with it a little bit. I had straps on. Pilot, no, we don't want that. Let's find us a good fishing overalls. Fishing overalls could be good. We're going to be a tugboat operator, so we have to kind of keep that in mind. I'm just kind of looking through search and rescue. Can't really color that the way I want. Western, no, we don't need to be that. So I'm just kind of finding a look for myself here. That's Unabomber territory there. These are all the branded stuff. So I'm thinking some of the overalls. So there was either fishing overalls. I think fishing overalls is what I'm going to be doing here. So match the hat. I don't know. Hat should probably be black, I'm thinking. There we go. That will be black. Shirt will be, we'll go back for shirt. Fishing overalls. Maybe that. Maybe a little bit bright on those. I'm kind of digging that. That's looking pretty good. I don't want to spend all day dressing my dude. But I'm going to go ahead and I'll get back with you guys after I add the creative menu onto the game. All right, so we are all set here. If we look at my frames, getting good frames now. We just got a mission here. So getting good frames now. You know, that was a problem. I was in super slowdown. It was down to 12 frames. No clue what was causing it, but I'm thinking it had something to do with the ocean floor being missing. So hopefully they patch that this Friday. That would be good. So let's check where this mission was we just got. All right, so it's pretty far. We have an autopilot in here, so what do we go? Do I not have timers? I thought I had timers on there. I'm not seeing a timer or a... Yeah, okay, there it is. It was hard to click on it. There it is. Okay, it's going to be $7,000, which is pretty good money. And that's 60 minutes. So I have 60 minutes to get there, which is fine. You know, I'll do speed up and everything for you guys. But let's go ahead and get going here. So let's grab our tugboat. I actually want to do some work on it. So we'll work first. And so this is the most recent save. So let's grab this. So let's do a little work here. And so one thing, I don't think I want this laying completely flat. So last episode, if you watched, which I hope you did, worked on the mast, and so that's pretty good. One issue here is, so I don't want this completely going down. So instead of 0, let's go down to like, I don't know, 0.65. So it won't completely lay that down. We'll test it out. And so if we were to, I'm probably going to have to, yeah, I'm definitely going to have to kick power on to do this. I could just click infinite electricity on as well, but... All right. Oh, come on. So one thing I can do here is if you have issues getting out of a steeral, double tap into a seat or helm or something, and you can do that. And so what I can do is click this, and you see that will lower it. Probably want more than that. So what do I have? 0.65. So probably want that actually the other way. So probably down as low as 0.25, I'm thinking. I just don't want it laying completely flat. I want it to have a little bit of an angle. I just think that will look a little bit better. All right, so that's good. One thing we're going to need definitely here to get going is cabin lights. And so let's go. I thought I hid that microcontroller. I guess not. Must not have. So let's start with some cabin lights here. And so let me look and see if I have my light panel. So do load content. Here it is right here. So this is my dimming lights. So, you know, a lot of stuff is going to build from scratch, but I think it's a little tedious. You know, when I'm in the microcontroller, I can show you guys how it works. All right, so what comes with this is I have a light, which I can hook up any of them, which is usually what I do. And then I have a dimmer panel, and then I have the box itself. So we'll start by putting the light in. Thinking we could probably do one light in this space. This isn't a huge space. And then one down in the living area. And we'll do one in the engine area. So that's pretty. Let me just double check. I'm going to be really annoying and measure. So that is 15. Perfect. So where are we at? 7. 7 is 2 off that. Okay, good. So it's actually 1 forward. But that's all right. I don't want it directly over me. I kind of want it behind my where I'm operating from so that it's not blinding me. All right, that's good. And then I want to do that. All right, and this is an RGB light. So I can dim this brighter, dimmer. I can also go red or white. So that's a nice little feature. All right, so I'm just going to copy this. And we'll start putting these elsewhere. And so right there, I'm thinking, We'll copy this one. Thinking right there. The only thing that might cause us some problems is I think that looks fine. We tell those ribs aren't going all the way across. That looks good. The only thing actually, it's good. This is perfect. I was going to say, if this was back here, I'm going to need that space for a winch. So where's the other one here? It's got to be right under this microcontroller, I'm thinking. All right, good. So that sets up, and what I can do is I can take the composite, and these can go to all of them. I should also put some deck lights on here while I'm at it, so I'll add some more deck lights. Or add some deck lights. There we go. All right, so we will copy this. And I need to put in deck lights here. So I'm trying to think how I want to do these deck lights. So you have too much, not really flat wall, really. Could just go low here like this. Thinking that should be fine. Because I don't want it shining back in my eyes too much as I'm driving. Oh, I didn't mean to not grab it. And then see, with the size of this vehicle, it's kind of nice. I don't need too many lights, I don't think. So because of this door frame, I can't stick it there, but I can probably put it right behind this ladder here and have good shinage. Or I could stick them in, I think I'll do doubles here. We want to make sure this is, I'm going to put floods back here too, so we'll do some deck lights there. Could put them in here. Let's actually do that. Yeah, let's do that. So let's stick a couple in this, where do we want them? Want them low, so either put them in this. So I'm going to have them probably aiming down here because the lights will be in the engine room at the same time. Like if I was doing a different engine room color, that could cause me a little bit of problem because we'd get bleed over, but this is going to be fine. So probably go something like that and hide them in the rails. That's what I wanted to do up front. Just don't have really space to hide it in the rails. There we go. So the lights will be there. That should light everything up nicely. And then where can I stick them here? I was thinking maybe right here, I think. Have them down lights there. So that will actually work. So let's grab them here. And I'll just grab this and resize. So, trying to get the things that I really need in this ship so that I can we can start moving on and getting all our missions. And then with the bed, we can stay out there for extended period of time. So I'm just gonna I'm trying to think if I want to do just like a tossable anchor that I can toss overboard. I'm thinking that kind of right now. So let's do a little bit of painting here. Symmetry is on. All right, so those are good. Bunch of paint issues I noticed in here as we were moving around. These frames, unfortunately, I can't double side those. You see, actually, let me do it there. Let me see if it will do these. Sometimes it likes it, sometimes it doesn't. Okay, good. That allowed me to do it. All right, so that worked. Let's see. There's some other paint, I think was in the frames of the door itself, but I'm not going to really worry about that right now. I need spots at some point, some spotlights. All right, so this panel is going to go somewhere. It's probably going to go here next to the anchor lights. Kind of like having like systems next to each other, so lighting stays close together. Oh, I didn't mean to copy it. I meant to cut it. Like systems come together. Keep flicking the camera around. It's no fun. Yeah, I like to have like systems together, so electrical together, lighting together. So you kind of, if you're looking to do light and stuff, it's right there. You can do it. probably I'll stick something in there at some point. Could use a heater at some point. You know, we're not going to the Arctic right away, so. And then this one here, it still has a player sensor on there, so the lights would go out. What? Yeah, I want to open it. Currently it has a player sensor. I don't think it's even connected. Yeah, it's not connected anyway, so I can get rid of that. I don't really do the player sensor anymore. I just, you know, leave the lights on. If it was playing multiplayer and there were a lot of people in there, you know, it makes sense. But just little old me, don't really need the player sensor. One thing I do want is a kill switch. Let's put that in sooner than later. Let's do that probably now. We had an issue where I fell overboard for a moment, and I was able to no-clip to where I needed to go. If I couldn't no-clip, that was going to be ugly, because that would have caused me to, you know, lose the ship, and the ship would have run off and hit something. So let's go ahead and put a... We need to put in a kill switch. So what I'm going to do here is I'll get a blank microcontroller. Oh, let's see, I actually have to type things. Get a blank microcontroller. All right, and what I'm going to do here is, so I need player sensor. So the player sensor works in enclosed volume. It will read, and you know, so it's essentially I need one for each enclosed volume. Short and simple of it. So what I need is a player sensor here. And I'm just going to go max range on these. So hemisphere, so if this was spherical, spherical is going to read anywhere around it. So it's a whole sphere around. Hemisphere means it's going to read this underneath here, a sphere underneath and not above it. I want it to read all around. This one, it doesn't really matter, but I'm going to keep them all on spheres. I'm going to go to max radius 10 meters. That's 30-ish feet. And as long as I'm somewhere in there. Now, this is something I didn't do before, is detect all, detect players, detect NPCs. I'm going to go to detect players, and this is why. Let's say that I do a rescue, and I have people in the bridge here, and I fall off. It will be reading the people, and it will keep going and crash them into the thing. I want it to be as though I have a kill switch on me. So let's copy that, and then we need one outside. And so the way we need to think about this is essentially the entire area of this ship. So we should be fine with the space we have here. I think I'll just throw it like right here. That should encompass the entire area. Make sure I'm not deleting anything I don't want to. Okay, let's merge that. So this will be for the outside. This will be for this room in here. This will take care of the entire outside. Again, it's on a sphere, not a hemisphere, so it should cover everything. And then we need one for the living quarters. Wowza, if I can find where I'm at. Living quarters. So if I'm in there, it won't kill the engines. And then if I'm in here, it won't kill the engines. So what it's essentially going to do is I already put in a 0 button that zeroes the thrust if I press spacebar. All this is going to do is add an and to that. So, I'm sorry, an or. So it will either be the spacebar or this system sets it off. All right. And so let's go ahead and we'll write this microcontroller now. All right, so we have, what do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4 of those. So we need a 5 microcontroller at least. And so I'm going to go 2 by 5 for now. That's 4. Let's shrink it just a hair. So that's 4 of those and that, so that should be good. So let's go ahead, and this is going to be the man overboard sensor. All right, we're going to go in here, and one of these is going to, I think the best way to do this here Trying to think how to do. What I could do is this. So I'm trying to think the best way to do this. So what I could do is have the engines come in here, and then, nope, that won't work. I'm gonna need to make this. Nope, this is all right. So let's do this. Do composite input. We'll do a pass through. So this is gonna be from. Trying to think. From Helm. Okay, from. Yeah, from Helm, and then this is gonna go composite output to engine panels. Okay. And so then these are going to be all the different buttons. So this one here is going to be bridge, outside, cabin, engine room. Okay. And so let's go in the micro and we'll build. So we're going to do a was it Boolean? So we only have 4, so that'll work. So here's a Boolean. So we're going to take a Boolean, we're going to plug these in. All right, so I think we do the not. You know what? I could do the not here, so not is not going to work there. Let's see. I can do the not inside if need be. No, not's right there. Okay, so that's why. All right, so let's go ahead. It's going to be exclamation points and not, parentheses, and then it's going to be, what do we have? X, Y, Z, W. So it's going to be X or X or Y or Z, come on, or W. So if it's not X, Y, Z, or W, that's going to send the signal through, and that's going to kill the engines. So pretty simple. And so what we'll do here is then we will write a bool. So write on off. So write a boolean. We're just going to, one is, nope, one's not going to work. Nope, what do we have? 6, 7. So this could be 7 because remember, this is on a helm, so I can't overtake a number. So there's 7. And this will be able to read out the helm, and then this will go to the panels. And so one of the reasons I'm going through here is because I'm running out of space in the panels. And so instead of adding a node to each of those engine panels, I can do it this way. All right, so we want to go, helm is going to go here. And now where the helm was originally going to here or here, we'll then go helm, helm. And so the helm will feed through this panel and then through there. So it's essentially picking up that signal we need. Because I don't think I have free space on these panels here. You know, I think these are full up if I check them. And so I'd have to add a node to each panel. This way, yep, see, I'd have to increase their size. This way I don't have to increase their size by just passing through that panel. All right, let's start hooking. So this is cabin. That is outside. That is, that's bridge, not cabin. Cabin is, that's outside was right. What am I doing here, man? All right, so that is, where is cabin? Cabin is here. All right, and then this is going to be engine room. Double check it, engine room. Okay, good. So if any of those are not detected, it's going to kill the engine. And then, so that's essentially going to allow me to, or it's going to zero the thrust. It's not going to shut the engines off. It's just going to make the thrust to 0. So it's going to stop the propellers from turning. Pretty simple. And so let's go ahead in each of these engines panels and set this up. Okay, so right here, where are we at? Right here is 31. 31 is the spacebar. So I just need to put in an or. I'm actually going to do a Boolean again. And the reason I'm doing a Boolean function is because eventually the autopilot is going to shut this off. The autopilot is going to shut the engines off when we get within a certain distance. So that's going to be there. And then 7 is going to be there. So this will be 7. All right, and then eventually that will be autopilot. So it will be X or Y or Z. If X, Y, or Z, it will then 0 the thrust. So I need, let's take this. All right, update that. We need to go to this panel here. Nope, that's not the right one. Where are we at here? There we are. Okay, this will go there now. There's this. We'll pick up 7. And then we still have that place for the autopilot later. Okay, good. So let's update that. And let's make sure, I need to go through electricity really quick. So we added a bunch of electrical items. So this here is our light panel. That needs to be powered now. What is this? These are our deck lighting. So deck lights get joined together. The deck lighting is going to go to that. This one's going to go down here. There's engine room. All right, so all that lighting is connected there. Nice, nice, nice. So I'll probably make that less little space on their spots or something. Maybe put them somewhere else. All right, so that should be set up. I don't think, yeah, I don't need anything on the player sensor. So let's go ahead and spawn this in. All right, so I also changed, if you remember, I changed the mast can't tip all the way down now. I gotta add electricity. And we're gonna be moving too. So I'm just gonna run on one battery. That's often what you'll do is you'll run on one I know, at least in airplanes, you'll run on one battery. That way you have an under-stressed, ready battery 100% to go when you need to. So there, that's a good tilt on the mast. It doesn't tilt all the way down. It just tilts part way. Like that, that's good. There we go, we have that going. Why am I, seem to be listing port something awful. See me listing to port? So I wonder if the fuel imbalance is that big. There is a fuel balancer. It should be keeping the tanks balanced, but I'll have to check it. That's most likely the culprit. So let's go ahead and click our lights on. All right, so that is doing nothing. So, you know why? Because I didn't hook up the composite, I don't think. No, I don't think. I think maybe one composite was connected, this one, so that light didn't even come on. So all these deck lights need the composite anyway, but that didn't come on either. I didn't hook up the electricity to any of the lights. I hooked them all together, but I never hooked them up to the master. So that would do it right there. Okay, let's try it. Need to put on a switch for backlights. So the imbalance here could just easily be the fuel. So we'll check that as we go downstairs because I have more microcontrollers on this side, so it's taking up less space. So right here, this is 2,600 liters. I'll change that to gallons eventually. Yep, so that's 400 liters more on this side than this side, so that's probably our imbalance right there. That would probably cut it. So that would do it. So, oh, come on. And then I'm just going to grab the helm, make it so I don't have to climb up the staircase. And there's our red light. Click it again. We have white. We can dim them. I can brighten them. Click it again. They go off. All right, nice. So that's set up. All right, player sensors. Let's test all the player sensors. So player sensor is reading true. So that's detecting us outside. This player sensor should be detecting us inside. It is. This one should be detecting us here. It is. This one should be detecting us in here. It is. Okay, good. So that should not be killing our engines. All right, let me just grab the helm. There we go. Not necessarily an ideal place for that, but that's where it's going to stay. All right, let's start them up. Oh, I didn't put the valves over. I've come and done the startup procedure so many times that I forgot this time. Yeah, trying not to there we go, fall down the hole. There we go. All right, so engines are up and running. Gens are coming on. Go ahead and go forward. I need to fix this, how it takes me forever to get started. Again, I need to climb to 2.5 before it even works. Alright, so we have the boats going. Somebody set a heading here. What is that? What the hell is that? Huh. Have I seen this boat before? Let's go look at this. So I don't have third person on. I'm kind of hoping to keep third person off. But I can still do cinematic stuff like this for camera work. You know, somebody asked, oh, it's the hospital boat. Somebody asked why, you know, why bother with a career game if I'm going to turn it on anyway. And, you know, I like the hybrid system better doing it this way. You know, a lot of it is for me to record, I need to be able to do exterior shots and stuff like that. And I need to be able to teleport, like, you know, I could spend an hour setting something up if I had to travel from here to there. Well, by being able to teleport in my career game, I can get the video set up. So that's one of the reasons I do it. So let's see, what's our current heading? I don't have a digital, so let's see. Let's go ahead and say, oh, I don't know, what's that? That's got to be maybe 075. Let's do 075s. Oh, that's definitely not 075. Okay. So anyways, we're going 075 now, and I'm going to depart. Yeah. Okay, here the engine stop, or the engines idle. So the engines have idled. Now, because it zeroed it, it's not going to kick them back on. It didn't like do a numerical switch box. It just zeroed them out. So as you can see, I can fall off. And now I have to set us going again. So that will also be how the autopilot works. When we get within a certain distance from the waypoint, it will auto stop. And this will, again, allow me to be able to, you know, go do something else. Test it one more time. So I'm going to close this door. I'm going to go downstairs, make sure it doesn't kill the engines. Nope, still running. Go in the engine room. Still running. I should be able to walk all the way around the deck and have this still run. Ah, come on. Ah, come on. Ah. Should be able to walk all the way around the deck. Alright, we're able to walk all the way around the deck here and still not have the ship die on us. Just getting out. Always need thumbnails. But if I depart, you see it zeroes the engines out. Alright, good. Alright, so let's go ahead and recall this. Again, another reason why I use the creative menu here is I can go in, I can do allow teleport vehicles, I can show map vehicles. You know, if I want to show you, hey, this is where we are, you know, I can show you guys that. I can also suck it back on the workbench, and it makes it much easier to make videos. And so that's why I do it this way. You know, if I was by my onesie, I probably, you know, wouldn't, but I do. So the other thing we need to work on is ballasting. As you can see, it's sitting too far on the bow. Is it really, though? It's actually not too bad. You can see we have actually we're sitting pretty well here. You know what it is? It's the altimeters need tuning is what it is. So I can tune the altimeters. Let's do that. So that's actually sitting fine. I forgot to tune the altimeters. So I'll show you what I mean by that, tuning the altimeters. Let's get paint. And this is the side that needs it. All right, good. And so what I mean by tuning the altimeters is, so I have these two altimeters in the back, and these altimeters are controlling the fins here. What's happening is it's pushing the bow down by pushing the stern up. I could do it off tilt sensors. I often do it off tilt sensors. Let's do it off tilt sensors because as I change water level, that's going to be important. So the reason why I'm doing altimeters though is this will also do the bank angle. So let's do this. Let's get rid of that. Let's get a tilt sensor in here. And then I'm going to do a tilt sensor forward. Doesn't matter where you put this. It's based off the actual horizon in game. And then, so I was just doing direct control there. I'll make a microcontroller just to make this work better. It's always nice to have a better working stability system. So let's go ahead in here. This will be stability system. Okay, let's jam that in there. All right, so we want to go, it's going to be a number output port, number output starboard. Okay. Let's do number input roll tilt number input pitch tilt. The issue with this though, the issue with this is waves, but I think we'll be all right. I'll have to see how it behaves. You know, these fins aren't that big, so they can't overpower us. They're not going to be able to submarine us, I hope. I don't think they will be able to. All right, so that's going to read those, and then it's going to push them out. I think that's pretty good. Let's go in here. And so I'm going to do it probably with just the functions. So we have starboard and port. So I'm going to do a multifunction like just the 3 is probably fine. And so we'll go in there, we'll go in here. Go in there, go in here, and this way I can tune these a little bit quicker and easier by doing them as functions. All right, so this one is going to be x plus y. And so I'm just going to do them like this, and then I'll test them out. So this will be, pitch is going to be the same. So this will be negative x plus y. All right. And then the reason I'm doing them in here is I could also, all I have to do is go like this. And at any point, if I need to multiply something, I can then multiply, say, 3x. You know, if I need to exacerbate it or make it greater or smaller, I can do that pretty easily. All right, so let's update this. Let's hook this system all up. This will be a little bit more configurable, make it the way I want it. So that's roll tilt. This is going to be pitch tilt. That's port. This is going to be starboard. All right, so it was the altimeters that were going under, and so one of the things I didn't consider was as I use up a bunch of fuel, we're going to start having issues where, you know, we're going to be higher in the water, and then it's going to try to pull the stern down in. This will just try to keep it level. It doesn't matter if we have if we're losing fuel or not. It's not gonna, it doesn't actually care about how high we are over the water, it just cares about our tilting. No, I didn't turn on the fuel valves. The other thing too is I'm thinking I might take out the, what do you call it, the flywheels. I definitely want to check the performance. What's up with this now? Why are these not working? What's my fuel doing here? Okay, so I'm out of fuel in this. That's fine. That's me putting this back and forth in the workbench. I'll be back with you guys in 1 second. I'm going to just load up the test world. That just makes life so much easier. All right, so we're in the test world here. And now this will just make it a little bit easier for me to have fuel and do whatever I need to do here. So it just spawned without fuel. So I would say that 400 liters is enough to keep, to have me listing to one side or the other. So I'll fix that at some point. Not a huge rush. The stability system will try to take care of it as we're underway. I didn't do it again. I didn't click the fuel valves. Well, you know, it's a little bit annoying this, but it's how I like it. I like having a realistic. I have to kind of use systems and do that. All right, so what was I even testing? Oh my god, my brain. Stability. So I'm powering up. It's just I need to fix that thrust as well. All right, so let's check our stability here. As you notice, we're bow up. So what are my fins doing? My fins should be coming up, and they don't appear to be doing that. So they probably are, but they're not doing enough. So what I'm going to do here is, this is the issue, is I have to, my starter procedure is getting a little bit long. So let's see, which one is the pitch tilt? This is pitch tilt. That is pitch tilt right there. All right, and so let's see in here. Pitch tilt is going to be, pitch tilt is Y. So let's go, oh, I don't know. Let's do a really ridiculous number, 50. You know, I don't need these parentheses, but I'm going to add them anyways. They don't hurt to have them. All right, and so that's gonna be insanity. That's gonna go 50 times, and so that will really, I'll be able to see these moving full swing. Hopefully, I don't see them moving though. It's hard for me to read them. Make sure they're all connected up here correctly. Don't appear to be. All right, so that's gonna be x plus 50 times y, negative x plus 50 times y. So that looks good. Let's go ahead and update this. What I'll do is I'll add a, make sure they're powered. Make sure I didn't break an electrical connection. Nope, that's all connected. Good, good. All right, so let's go ahead and I want to put a dial in here. It's always nice to be able to read the dial. And I'm going to go ahead and that's fine. Those are connected. Then I want to connect starboard and port to these dials. That will just give me a readout, see what they're doing, see what it's signaling them to do. I do really like these new manual valves. That was a big add for me. I'm glad the devs put that in there. Okay, so these are reading. These are showing. They're just not, the fins, I can't visually see them very well. And so I'm just doing that extreme 50 on there to make sure that it's running in the right direction, because it will really... Okay, so see, I can see now the fins are trying to pull my stern down, so they're backwards. All right. All right, so let's go ahead in this microcontroller. I'm going to add a node. It's going to be a number input. This is the multiplier. And then I'm going to change this up here so I have the multiplier is here. And that's going to hook into this last node here, which is the Z node. And instead of 50, I'm going to put Z, and I'm going to tune these. So Z, that's going to tune these up. And so the pitch needs to be reversed. So it needs to be Z times negative Y, negative Y. All right. And so I should also be able to, so right now, I see it's going to be hard to tell without the pitch. Yeah, see, I can't tell. I was going to try to test rollout too, but that's going to be tough. All right, so I already forgot to do something here. Need to put the keypad in. Let's get rid of symmetry for a sec. All right, so this is going to be the multiplier. This is going to be what I multiply that by, so I can tune this stability system in. That will go there. All right, that should be good. Make sure I double check the electricity before I have to come in again. Good. All right, so we're starting to get to the point here. We kind of accomplished a lot this time, this episode. We did a bunch of lighting. The dead man switch. The if we fall off, that's important, so that if we fall off, it will stop and it won't continue shooting down the road, and then we have issues. I'm trying to go forward now, just taking me a while. I'll fix that eventually. All right, so I haven't put a multiplier in yet. So you notice we're already, so we have the bows up a little bit here. I need to put, are they going up? I can't tell. Let me steer this a little bit, and I'm going to put a multiplier in. So right now they're working, but they're not working by much because it's not multiplying it by anything. So that looks to be better now. They are going up. So let's do a really ridiculous number. I think they're probably, they're not at max. You see there, they're not at max. So let's do 5,000. Now, as you can see, they're going huge numbers and maxing out. So you see how we're sitting flat now? So it doesn't need to be 5,000, but 5,000, they're not doing too bad. So let's test this out. Let's turn. So I'm going to keep it turning. Notice how we're sitting nice and flat. So likely I have them going the right direction. We're not banking as much. What I'm going to do is check my numbers. So that's reading, that's all over the place because it's 5,000. Let's go 100. So see, that's much more stable now. That is like 0.3. That's, let's see, these are reading about this. That's more. That's less. Okay, so this is probably trying to lift this side, and this one's dropping. But you see, we're pretty sitting pretty flat. Let's go ahead and I'm gonna straighten it out. A pretty simple stability system that's working well. So what I'm going to do here is tune these in. So right now, as you can see, we're only using about 50%. Let's increase this again. Let's go 200. So I could put a pit in there that would kind of cut the oscillation down. It's one of the reasons why I pit everything, but it's not bad either. See, that has a sitting flatter. Let's do a turn. See how it keeps our deck nice and flat, especially with the tugboat. We're going to want that. We're going to want the help from those fins, because you would have the keels helping you, you know, give you dynamics or give you static stability. I'm not sure if it's static or dynamic stability, but that's giving us good stability. Let's go ahead and let's bang on some waves here. Do 100% wind. Always a nice test. 100% wind. How does it function with 100% wind? So we're going to go right into the waves. There's 100% wind. If the ship works well with 100% wind, we have no fear. And this is at full throttle, mind you. We should not be maintaining full throttle in 100% wind generally. We'll be slowing down, especially if the sea state gets worse and we get out further in the ocean. The waves get bigger, get up to the Arctic where the waves can be huge. That's when we will do that. Let's go ahead and put in, let me find the heading for this. So let's try a 340 heading. I'll just have the autopilot try to maintain this for me. Let it steer for me. Perfect, look at that, that was a good guess. See, this does a just much better job of steering than I do. So even jumping out of the water, it's not going crazy. See how this one behaves there. So see, a normal person would reduce the thrust. I tend to often put an anti-fly system in, but this is behaving well enough, I probably won't even bother. What my anti-fly systems do is that essentially it reduces the thrust when it comes out of the water like this. And that makes it so that, you know, this boat's heavy enough and it's not, the engines aren't revving up like crazy. And so because of that, it's not revving up really high and then kicking us out of the water. And so it's not trying to do backflips like you see some people have backflip issues. And make sure I'm not sink. We're going to need bilge pumps, so what do I have in there? 200, so keep that in mind. So you see this behaving. So what a normal person does in a heavy sea state, again, there's a game, whatever, but, you know, this would absolutely beat the hell out of you jumping out of the water like this. You'd be slamming down and hurting yourself. What a normal person would do in this is slow down. And so I'm going to bring my thrust back. It's like sacrilege in Stormworks to slow down. But see, like, I've dropped 5, 6 knots, maybe 7 knots at most. And you see this is much more realistic, much more normal. We're in 100% wind. We're not going to get this all the time. Just slow down a little bit. That helps a lot. So that's really working well. That's keeping us very nice and stable. So I like that. That's good. All right, so let's recall this to the base. Again, one of the reasons why, like, you know, I'm in the custom world now anyway, but the creative functionality of the creative menu allowing me to pull it back in, do testing, bring it back out. All right, good. So that is nice. So the stability system is working better now. 200 is my number. So what I can do here is go ahead and I can delete out the multiplier. I can go in here and then change. It's negative, what's that? Z times. So this will be 200 times. Actually, you know what? Let's undo that. I can take this out here. Take out the multiplier, shrink the panel, and instead what I'll do is I will do a constant number. Here, I'll do this instead. Do a property number. And that way I can easily adjust it. If I find out later I need the number needs to be different, I can easily adjust this. So this will just hook into Z. The formula is already set up. I can put 200 stab multiplier. Okay, there we go. So that's now better. So I can kind of on the fly. So some things we need to do. We need to get this capacity. I need to check these capacities. So this one is holding a ton more fuel than the other side. So what are we working with here? So this has, does it, this, see, it doesn't really look like this has much more capacity. Where's my excess capacity in this? We're using 4, 5, 6, nope, we're using, what's this? 1, 2, 3 by 5. Yeah, 3 by 5 is 15. That's 19, 20, 21, 22. 22, what's this? A 4 by 5, that's 20, so that's 42. Okay. This is 5 by 3, that's 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28. Okay, so that has a considerable amount more microcontrollers in there, and so that is really cutting it down the amount of space it has in there. Keep that there. All right, so I need to put, I'll stick a micro in here. So what did I count this out to? Is that 1, 2, 3, 5 by 3, 15. 4 times 2 is 8. 15 and 8 is 23, 24. So 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 28 to like 40 something. So yeah, that would be why we're having, so these two panels, if I stick these on the other side, what do you say, 28 or something? 28, what's that? 3, 2, 6. So we're talking 34 and 38. So here, putting these two in gets us starting to get us close to being back to parity on the fuel. Because the fuel has a good bit of mass. So what I eventually do is I will ballast out. So you see all the weight blocks, how we started that? Eventually, when I get this to a much more completed state, all I would have to do is, this is my heavier side, cut out the floor of weight blocks here and leave it on this side, and that's how you ballast. And so you actually do that, especially in aircraft, is, if you have certain things that are heavier on one side, you will ballast. You need to have the center of gravity correct, so you'll ballast it. Let's make sure I'm not going to delete anything I need. Nope. Okay, so that's adding 4 more blocks. Should be increasing our capacity there. And then what's that? That's a 3 by 2. It should fit this here fine. Yeah, so it's always a great idea to, I should be able to also put in, physics flutters in here. You can do it in a water body. So I'm just making sure that's not not going to cut out my electrical stuff. All right, the other thing I need in here definitely is a fire extinguisher. Let's turn symmetry on. I want 2 of them. All right, now we'll go on the wall there. That's good. All right, so that should add, okay, I still have another panel here, so we're probably close, especially if I put this panel in. Let's see if I can get this one in. I definitely could probably put it on the top. See, the nice thing is this one has a big wall here, but I just need to move this down. So let's get this in here on the wall. Try to grab the blue arrow if you let me. There we go, guy. Yeah, so this will go here. So this should be getting us close to parity on fuel capacity. Oh, this one I have issues with that. Yeah, see, I need to, what the hell, what is going on here? So I need to move this down because you see the hatch? That will leak. So I don't want that to leak. So that needs to go there now. I don't really need that where it is. It can move later. Because it's convenient for me to be able to come to the side here and read how much fuel I have. But I don't necessarily need it there. All right, good. So that fixes that. Let's do a little paint while I'm here. Did not mean to have symmetry on. Yeah, let's do that. Make the ladder rungs that actually, I think I like that better. All right, so that should be better on parity on fuel. Let's go ahead and spawn it and check it. And then maybe I'll see if I can fix my throttle. See, I do need to ballast this out a little bit, but the other thing too is that I need to look at. Let's see, what was I doing? Checking fuel. Okay. Still sitting crooked here. There's 2,900 liters on that side, so we're also greatly increasing our fuel capacity, which is nice. So we actually have 200 more on this side than the other side. Let's take this in the workbench. I need to see where this center of gravity is here. So, okay, so see the center of gravity is dragged to the left? Nope, that's centered. So if we grab a pink block here, you can see it's right there. It's actually pretty good. It's right. Yeah, it's right in the middle. I don't know why we're listing a little bit. We are listing, though. It's strange. So the other thing I was thinking of doing is increasing the deck height of this one block. Don't know if I'm going to do it or not. Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to do it or not. One thing is just for the water capacity there, but don't really need to do it. Often the tugboats, the front here is a little bit higher. It kind of ramps up. Don't really need the headspace in here. Get a little bit of water in there, but that's not the end of the world. I could probably use to drag that center of gravity back just a little bit. Let's check the length here really quick. All right. So the length of this is 52, which is even. It's not. It was just kind of gross. So that is going to be 26 is the midpoint right there. So it's actually it's pretty much dead on. It's not bad. Center of gravity is pretty good. So something I'll just live with. A little bit of that water, the fake water on there coming through is not a huge deal. All right, so let's check this thrust setting here, see if I can't fix this really quick, and that will make that the end. So what my issue here is I could do it one or two ways. One, to make the craft more dynamic, I could get rid of the flywheels. Flywheels make the speed changes a lot slower. This is a tugboat. I need to be able to maneuver quickly. Let's try that really quick. I do need to put in a new p-value if I do that. Because the engine will change speed faster, and because it's changing speed faster, I need a different p-value in there. Could also increase the size of the engine, but I don't really need to or want to. Let's go like this. So let's try getting rid of these and see if I like it better. This will allow me to change speed faster. I'm going to have to put in a p-value to work with the engines, which is a pain at this point. All right. So now I got rid of the flywheels. That will make these more dynamic. I'll be able to change them more quickly. Which so be ready to hear this. The see how it's doing that little bit of water in the nose. I don't like that. In the bow, I don't like that. So the p-value is going to be wrong most likely, and it's going to cause issues in my modular engine tutorial. I talk about that. I show you how really wildly different p-values. See how quickly they start up without flywheels on there? Yeah, that's not really doing much for me. Let me see if I can't change speeds faster. All right, I don't think I want to change flywheels. We're getting on time here. Let me try fixing this really quick, and then let me keep the flywheels in, but I'll do something else here. So I've been kind of thinking of how to do this a little bit here and trying to determine what's going to be the best method to do this here. All right, so let me show you what's the issue that I'm having here in the way that I'm operating these. So my engines start at 0. In order for me to get moving here, I need to get up to 2.6. So let me change that. Now let me change that, I think. So where are we at here? So right there, that is this. So this is always putting out a 2.5. Okay, that's not going to work. I'm trying to just determine what's the best way to do this here. So essentially what's happening is I'm starting at 0. And let me do this. Let me bring the increment up. Let's go 0.01. Let's see if this functions well enough. I'll go do a quick maneuvering test. Because it's going from 0, it has to get all the way up to 2.6 before it even does anything, and that's an issue. It just takes me too long, and then I have to go all the way down through, so I need a faster throttle, essentially. Could do, yeah. All right, let's go. I have to go start everything up down here again. Should have waited to make this more complicated, but whatever. It just takes me a little bit more to test. All right, so if I can just do this with increment, that's going to save me a lot of time. Okay, good. Now let's try to move faster. Holding W and S. So that's not bad. Let's do some maneuvering. So I'm going to keep my azipods centered. I'm going to start coming back on starboard to do a standard maneuver turn. So see, it takes me a while to get it into reverse. I'm already in reverse, it's just not showing bubbles. Okay, so see, I'm doing a 360. This is just for the asymmetrical thrust. You can do this with a stand tug as well. The thing you can't do with a stand tug is go sideways like this one can. That's why I like ASDs. So the stability's all working. See, we're a little bit bow down, so what I can do is I can add some ballast to that rear section as well. Okay, I'm going to start coming up on starboard, see if this does it for me. There we go. See, it still lags a little bit too much for me. Let's see if I can do this. I'll keep trying it. Let me, what do we want to do? Double that maybe? Let's triple it, and I'd rather go over. So let's go 0.03. Now let's see if this is dynamic enough for me that I can, because a lot of this, you really want to be able to change your thrust quickly in the tugboat to be able to do your maneuvers properly. I want to be able to go forward and back. If a barge is getting away from me and it's going to hit something, I need to quickly move the tugboat to go and stop the barge from hitting. I need to be able to rotate and get quickly over there and not have it take me 100 years. So I should be able to still get, so let me see if I have granular control. That's one of my fears with doing too much sensitivity, is that I can't do small speed changes. So there was like one tap on either. like 3 or 4 taps. Yeah, so see, I can still control my speed nicely here. I'm a couple taps, and I can drop a knot. So 1, 2, 3. So we dropped 3 knots, so each tap is giving me like 1 knot of change. Yeah, so that's actually perfect. That's giving me, so 1 tap is dropping about a knot. Yeah, that's perfect. There we go. 2 taps gave me 2 knots. That's really beautiful. And then let me check my thrust settings here. So here we have, so that clutch is, so this clutch is reading 0 for some reason. So what's this? So what's my power? I need to read my power, essentially. So see, I have more port power. So I want it 9.5 on this side. So let me see if I can get my power to 9.5. Yeah, so see, I still have really good granular control of this. Not as accurate as necessarily I like, but it's pretty damn accurate. I could, yeah, see, I was able to equalize them pretty well myself. So let's do a couple maneuvers, then we'll call it a video here. But, you know, I think this is ready to get back on missions. Again, you know, like I said, I did a new save because I think when they introduced the bug where they just deleted the ocean floor, I think those missions where you had to do ocean floor stuff are causing it to have problems. All right, so let's say I want to go sideways. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start pushing my azipods out left and right. Okay, so you see they're both out. I equalized them. So you actually travel this way. You travel with them out a little bit like this. Now I want to go right. So I need to go reverse on right and forward on the port side. So I'm pulling back starboard. It's going to stall because it's not, the clutch needs to be retuned now. All right, so now I need to push this forward like this, and, oh, whoa, that's fast. What is going on here? That's getting all stuck for some reason. So I'm steering with my port. This, okay, why is this getting stuck now? Okay, that's interesting. But you see I'm able to go sideways now. So the boat needs to be ballasted. As you see, it sits too far to the nose, to the bow. It needs to have a little bit of ballast in there. So what I'll do is pull weight blocks off that nose. And that's the whole reason why I put all those weight blocks in, if you remember, was you stick those in, and then as you need to change your ballast, you already have them in there, and you know you're not going to lose too much buoyancy. All right, so we're going sideways here. Let me check my power. So we're at 7. We're at 6. Let's go up to 7 on the right side. So just a couple taps, kind of easily get it up to 7. I think in reverse, I don't get as much RPS, which is pretty normal, I think. I think you get less RPS in reverse. But as you can see, I can go sideways with this. All right, let's do a quick maneuver change. Let's go forward. There we go. Let's slam it in reverse. See, I don't see this left side's having issues. The left side is sticking on me for some reason. I'll figure it out why it's doing that. All right, let's go in reverse. Might stall him. Yep, it's going to stall me. Okay, so see, I didn't command it to turn like that. All right, so one thing I need to do is when I'm going in reverse, I need to have those, see the fins? The fins are picking my stern up. So this is going to be a long one. Sorry, guys, if this is too long for you. But this is one feature I didn't add in here that I need to add in. So where's my stability? Engine cooling, that's my stability system. Good, right here. So I'm just going to yank this out really quick. Oh, get out of there. I'm going to cut this. I'm going to move it out here. And this is a feature. Oh, come on, man. I grabbed the wrong arrow. Or I grabbed the right arrow. The game thought I grabbed the other arrow. That's my story. I'm sticking to it here. Let's go in here. Let me update that. Make sure it went in the right direction. It did. Okay. And I'm going to move these anyway. So this is going to be port starboard. All right, so one thing I need to add in here is a linear speed sensor, and so that needs to be set to absolute, and the reason for that is I'm in an endeavor to try to not say a ton of ums because I have to edit them out, and so part of it is as I'm trying to think or do numbers or math, especially that's when I say them to try to because I'm thinking that part of my brain's doing something else. So we need the absolute speed sensor, and what this is doing here is it's gonna put these in negative if we're in reverse, and so the fins they want to correct the tilt. They're set up to by default correct the tilt when we're going forward. When we go rearward, they need to operate backwards essentially. And so what we're going to do here is numerical switch boxes. All right, so numerical switch boxes, and we need a threshold. Just essentially, if this is just less than 0. So if the absolute speed sensor, which the absolute will tell us, it will give us a negative number when we're going in reverse, and it'll give us a positive number when we're going forward. The regular linear speed sensor is going to no, directional. Directional gives us forward and reverse. So absolute, I think, is what it's set to. Let's see, directional. All right, so a directional will give us a negative when we're going backwards and a positive when we're going forward. So if this is less than 0, i.e. we're going backwards, it's going to flip these over. And so standard is going to be what we're reading currently. And then reverse is going to be a function of negative x. And so essentially what it's going to do is it's going to make everything go backwards when we're going backwards. Because as you can see, it tries to pick our stern up. Now I think the roll should also be affected by that. And so we're going to want that as well. There it is right there. So like, where did I put it? I just made it. And so when we're in reverse, it will reverse those signals. So if the roll doesn't work that way, which I can't remember if it does, I need to hook things up here. I didn't put a speed sensor. All right, so we have angular. We want linear speed. So starting to get full in the back here. I can start cutting into the wall and sticking these in the walls. I just haven't done it yet because I just haven't. So absolute is gives us a positive whether we're going forward or backwards. Directional gives us a positive or negative. So we want directional. And so this needs to get plugged in there. Some of these got deleted because when I moved them. So that is pitch tilt there, pitch tilt's there. This is roll tilt still good. This one here is going to be port. I put them on the wrong side. Okay, starboard. What? Starboard needs to go to starboard. Okay, these need to flip here. There we go. All right. So port needs to go to port. Starboard's going to go starboard. All right, there we go. This needs to slide back into place. This is actually going to see more fuel on this side. Drag it back in here. Did I copy it by accident? Frustration if I did. Yeah, I copied it instead of cutting it. That's just annoying. There we go. A little paint. Trying to do all this painting stuff as I go so it's not garish and annoying. Make sure they're all connected. That's starboard, that's port, that's pitch tilt, that's roll tilt, that is directional speed sensor. All right, good. So let's test this out. When I go in reverse, it should still keep hopefully my pitch and roll stable. You know, right now what it's doing is it's picking the stern of the craft up out of the water because the fins are working backwards. because I'm going backwards. And so this should invert it so that they go forwards. So I really like this. This is tuned in well. The clutches, so essentially what I need to do is if I get between, if I essentially get, if the RPS gets below stall range, it needs to completely zero the clutch so it doesn't stall. But this is really responsive now, and I like that. All right, let's jam it in reverse. See, we stall. All right, so now that directional, okay. Let me see, is this, what is this doing? Okay, so they are actually, they're going in the right direction. They're just often not enough. So let's keep moving on this. I'm trying not to just live by the clock here. I want to kind of do a little bit of thematic episodes here where the theme is we're building, and then we're actually going out and doing some missions here. So what I need to do here is the clutch needs to have a higher increment. So let's try this. So let's do double the increment there, 0.01. All right, 0.01 here. All right, so this is going to give us a faster clutch. And then what I also want to do is, I should just do it from in there. All right, so right here we have a 0 on the clutch. And so that is, so we have two conditions. Remember, if the, let me check the two conditions here. Okay, so if I hit the space bar, and the other one was if I hit the space bar or I fall off, essentially, it's going to zero the clutch. So I'm going to change this to a Boolean. Once I get to 3, I start to put in the Boolean. Oh, that's not the one I want. This one. All right, so it's going to be this one is that there. It's going to go there. Okay, so this is going to be X or Y, or, and then the last condition is if the RPS gets below, so what am I running here? 2.5, so let's say 2.25. So if, let's do, where do I have a less here? I'm going to grab a less. All right, so if the RPS gets less than, try not to make this a friggin' mess, but it's going to be a friggin' mess. All right, so if the RPS is less than, nope, where are we at here? Right there, constant number, 2.25. And so the engine should idle at 2.5. We start doing our engagement at 2.6. If it gets below 2.25 and it hasn't already brought it down to 0, I need it to zero it out. And the reason is that will that's kind of stall prevention. And so that will be Z. All right, we'll do the same thing on the other side. I can't really copy these here. Let's go like this. We'll see. Okay. There we go. All right, and that will get me where I need to go here. So hopefully that will zero out the clutch. Essentially, so in a car, let's say you are about to stall. What do? You push your foot all the way in on the clutch. It separates the engine from the, in the case of a car, your wheels, and it prevents you from stalling. This is exactly what we're doing here. It's saying, oh, your RPS is getting so low, man. Remove your, completely let out the clutch. So that is here. That is going to be there. This goes there now. This go, oh, that was exactly the opposite thing that I wanted to delete. Now this goes like so. We need to hook up RPS to that. All right, there we go. So that is set up now. So hopefully when I try to jam it in reverse, it's going to say, okay, you can have reverse, man, but my RPS is too low. I need to put my foot on the clutch pedal and separate the engine from in this case, the propeller, until I get enough torque, enough RPS, which we're talking RPS in this case, just because torque isn't helpful in game, that it will disconnect the engine from what we're driving and essentially reduce the resistance so that we have enough energy in the engine to maintain compression. So let's go for it. Nice. Okay, so that clutch seems to be reading well. This one, see, this is backwards. I need to fix this because these are working backwards. See, I inverted this panel. I should not have done that. I went the lazy way. I need to go back and fix this panel. You see how these needles are backwards? That's causing me issues. All right, so clutches are 100%. Let's jam it in reverse. So here it didn't stall. Up there it goes. So I actually probably why it stalled there. Let me go forward. It probably will stall again. It didn't stall like it did last time though. See, it's stalling at a different position. The reason it's stalling at a different position is this. Is the increment I changed on the clutch is now too fast. So it's adding clutch too quickly. So let's change that back. It's zeroing it when I need it to, but it is now adding the clutch in too fast. So it's like you haven't built up enough revs in your car yet to start to let the clutch out to get moving. And what it's doing is it's causing you to take your foot off the clutch, give it 100% clutch, pushing the plates together. It's putting so much resistance on the engine, it can no longer make adequate compression. Engine stalls. And so what you do in real life, you know, I do this as a tractor trailer driver all the time, is you feather the clutch, you give it a little in, out, in, out, in, out. So you're essentially feathering it, you're giving it some more power, a little bit less, a little bit more, and you're keeping it right on that power curve and not allowing it to stall. Especially if I was pulling a set of doubles, you have 2 trailers and a dolly. The brakes are very slow, especially on the rear trailer, to release. And so you're actually pulling it with a little bit of brake pulling. Okay. All right, so I don't like that. Let me see what it's doing. All right, so I need to look at clutch while it's doing this. So let me play with this number. Sorry, guys, it's going to take me a little while, but I'm tuning this up. So right now, oh, you know what it was? I did it the wrong. So it's supposed to be 0.05. No wonder. So it was 0.01. Half of that's 0.05. I did it 5 times the opposite direction because I forgot to put a 0 in. So that makes sense. I was like, this doesn't make sense. Why is it doing this? So that would do it every day of the week. Is I was trying to make it half as quick, and I made it 5 times quicker. So it was going 10 times in the wrong direction, essentially. All right, so this will be the last thing I do. Hopefully this works well. All right, so let's try jamming it in reverse. The other thing I could do is increase that number for when it wants to zero the clutch. Okay. Stalled out again. So let's finish this up here. I want to get this right. So I don't want to have hear restart noise all the time. So right here, this number here is, if it's less than, let's go to 2 point, yeah, see this is 2.6 application. Let's do 2.5 on this and see if that fixes all of our woes. So definitely, you see it was behaving better with that new clutch figure. See, this is a lot of the tuning stuff that if you don't understand the mechanics of how things work, you know, this is when people get really confused. They're like, I don't know why my system's not working, my engine's, and so if you understand the mechanics of it, it makes it a lot easier. And so I understand, you know, a lot of people don't understand the mechanics of it. So that's one of the reasons why I kind of walk people through this, try to explain it is understand the mechanics of how a gearbox and a clutch operate with the engine and how an engine actually runs and needs compression. In this case, you know, the game simulates compression by saying, hey, it needs to stay above 2 RPS. Well, the reason it needs to stay above 2 RPS is to maintain compression, IRL. So they just kind of do it with a hard, fast number. All right, so let's see if this restarts the engines, which means solved it. Nope, there we go. See, it doesn't do that. Let's go forward, see if it does it. Beautiful. All right, so that is awesome there. That is that gets us going where we need to be here. You know, as you notice, I can do really good maneuvers. I'm going to pull starboard all the way back into reverse. Yeah, it's doing a restart in this. Some of these I can't get around just because the way the game operates is the way that the resistance mechanics work. Sometimes do that, but notice, see how I can easily go into a 360. I'm pushing forward now. Let's get out of the 360. So let's do a quick maneuver, kind of show you. So that, you know, even with a standard tug, so I haven't moved the azipod, so this is acting like a stand tug. Let's quickly do a 180 reversal and head in the opposite direction. So I'm going to hold down the down arrow. I'm going to reverse my starboard screw. And we'll do a 180. We'll do a handbrake turn, essentially. I'm going forward now on the starboard screw. And there we go. So see how nice and maneuverable this is. Even a standard tug, I can really do a lot of maneuvering, but it doesn't have that side strafing ability that I have with an ASD, so it's still like an ASD. You know, and part of the joy for me in the game is the mechanical operation of vehicles is what I've done my whole life, and so I really like that operation element of it, and so, you know, part of it is the more complex a machine is, the more gratification I get out of it, because, you know, you start to become a professional at operating something. And the more challenging it is, the more rewarding it is. So that's why I don't automate a ton of stuff in game. Why I like to, you know, do a lot of stuff myself is that's where I get joy out of the game, is actually having to operate these things. Let's do a quick light check while we're here. I know we're getting on time, but I'm in the floor. But, you know, I figured instead of starting a new episode on a different kind of theme. So let's go put all those on. Let's go lights on. Let's go ahead and go nighttime. I need a thumbnail anyway, so get a night thumbnail. All right, and so this is... all right, so let's look at our deck lights. See, I still had yet to check out the deck lights. So these down deck lights look really nice. You see, they're completely flooding the bow. They're flooding the stern. The stern light is bright enough that it lights up my whole back deck, which is nice. The work area. I'm also going to put some spots on there. But that looks really good. Let's go through underneath here, make sure all my lights are working. Yep, we have lights there, lights in here, very nice. So everything's working really well. I'm happy with this so far. Really working nicely. Do a little bit of design work in here. This is eventually going to look like shelving, so that needs to go in there. But I hope you guys have been enjoying this. I'm really, you know, I was in a huge slump with not wanting to play. And so I'm really over that. I'm really enjoying it. You know, part of it was getting back. I love tugboats, and so getting back into building a tugboat. And, you know, a lot of my builds lately have been taking like 300 hours to get the freaking build done. So they've just been super complex, and it's just like you get into a point where, you know, you're spending 5 or 6 days, and all you're working on is the little minutia to try to get something fixed, and it takes you 3 or 4 minutes just to get, say, the airplane up in the air, and then you do your test, and the test fails. Go back, you change a parameter. There's another 5 minutes to get back to where you can test it. Yep, failed again, go back, and so it can be a little bit tedious. And so building something small and reasonably simple like this has been fun. So I hope you guys are enjoying it, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.